your Neepawa Town Council Debrief for the October the 17th, 2023 meeting. The debrief will highlight the key issues being discussed by Council and provide additional information on issues of particular interest to the community. This week's Council meeting covers upcoming community events, progress on construction projects, Dutch Elm Disease tree removals, and funding requests. Councillor Parrott updates Council on his latest activities, including the information night for the upcoming LPN program. He reports that over 30 people were interviewed at that event, and that the remaining spaces in the program will probably not last for long. Councillor Nadeau shares his recent visit to Stony Mountain Institution, known as Stony Mountain Penitentiary, in his capacity as a member of the Spruce Plains Justice Committee. The federal institution is located a short distance outside Winnipeg and can collectively house almost 800 prisoners under 3 levels of security. Nadeau calls his visit a life-changing experience, which gives you a very different perspective on everything in your life. The Spruce Plains Justice Committee is a volunteer group that focuses on restorative justice in order to keep people out of institutions like Stony Mountain and finding alternative resolutions that fit the crime. Wrapping up the Council reports, Councillor Sisley reports on the results of the What's the Big Idea entrepreneurial event and promotes the upcoming Halloween Haunted Forest event, which is a partnership between the town of Neepawa, the King Club, Settlement Services, and Philcan.
Okay, we had an LPN information night that was held at the library by ACC and Medical, and there were over 30 interviewed people there, so it was well attended. And on the way over here, I heard the ACC radio ad advertising the LPN program. And we're currently preparing a student lounge or study room at the clinic for training the doctors this coming summer. And our What's the Big Idea was a big success, and NATCO sponsored this. And Hidden Hollow, with their wonderful presentation, was the winner of the NATCO award. And tomorrow we're going to an asset management training session in Brandon, and asset management is one of the big government pushes. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Bruce. Anyone else? Councillor Nadeau.
Yeah, I've got a couple reports for you. One is the Rossburn Subdivision Trail Association. We met on October 5th, way out in Rossburn. So quite the journey, but always nice to see different communities and see how they're dealing with things. We've stabilized with our trail system, so that's a good thing. Other spots along the trail, there's a lot of stuff disappearing, such as signs, lots of people impeding on the trail itself, but also they even have some washouts along the trail, and over by the colony, just over to the
Spring Hill.
Spring Hill, yeah.
The bridge burnt years ago.
Okay, and we've had some stuff unfortunately disappear along the trail. We've had stuff go missing, like sections of boards. Like we have this beautiful bike park, so there's sections like that are worth quite a bit of money, and wood's worth a lot. And just recently we've had a bridge disappear, so a whole bridge, and we know what those are worth. So if you see a bridge for sale, let me know. It's interesting, you know, definitely. And the section is more closer to the closer to Rossburn, I think, where the bridge is missing. We've done a bunch of trail system over there, boardwalks over by Rossburn, and connecting it with a sub-trail off to the park. We're looking to make sure all our municipalities are cutting grass on the trail, just because the grass has been growing incredible this year. A couple weeks after you cut it, you almost don't know that it's been cut because it's been growing so much. But definitely, I think we're going to see those MOUs come about again. So each community along the trail is being asked to sign a memo of understanding, just outlining the responsibilities in each community. And for this trail group, we're right at the end. So we have a small section that's included in it, but still an important part to connect us all through. So maybe at the next meeting, I'll bring a copy of the MOU just to get you to look at it again. And if you have any questions about it, we can always request a delegation to come from the trail board to answer any questions or explain it if there's something I can't explain. The second thing that I did in the last couple of weeks, this was on October 12th. It was a good one. So as I'm part of the Justice Committee, I was able to get the opportunity to go visit Stony Mountain Penitentiary. So I went and did the tour. And they tell you it's life-changing. It is, like, everyone has their own realization. It's life-changing. And I got to see things that most people have never seen before in their life, and hear things that you haven't seen. And it definitely gives you a different perspective on everything from your day-to-day life. And really interesting tour, interesting protocols, interesting how they do everything. They have their own canteen there, you know, so you could relate it to your work and your different ways of working in the community. So this was something that was well worth the time spent, and it was quite the tour. So definitely something of interest to go, and how they manage people, you know, like there's a lot you can see there if you put the right lens on. So that's everything.
Okay, thanks, Jason. Anyone else? Councillor Sisley.
So we have the Halloween Haunted Forest coming up Saturday, October 28th at Riverbend Park. The little kids can dress up and come for a walk from 3 to 4 p.m. There will be people handing out candy along the trail. Bigger kids can come from 7 to 8:30 p.m. There'll be scary decor and zombies, ghosts, etc. And they will be handing out scares along the trail for the bigger kids. This is being done in partnership with the Neepawa Kin Club, Settlement Services, and Philcan, and donations will be accepted. It is a free event, but they are accepting donations if anybody would like to donate. And I'm going to touch on the what's the big idea that Councillor Parrott had briefly talked about. What it is, it's a one-day entrepreneurship event. It was held on October 12th. It's a trade show where people can pitch their business ideas. There's provincial support agencies such as Futurepreneur, North Forge, and the Women's Enterprise Centre of Manitoba. They spent the day connecting with the entrepreneurs as they launched their business. 7 entrepreneurs, 5 from Neepawa, 2 from Minnedosa, walked away with $12,300 in cash and prizes. Best pitch of the day was Katie Martin, who pitched her fine art business. And the best overall idea was pitched by Belinda Critchlow for Hidden Hollow, a kid store and more. Since 2015, 50 businesses have been awarded $78,750 to support and launch their businesses in our region from that. So it's a very, very big event, and I'm sure Maryland's already started on next year's What's the Big Idea. Last one I have is Handyman. We had 367 trips for the month of September. We just received a $1,500 donation this morning from Hand, so that was a huge help out for us. We just missed the window to hear what the proceeds from the Co-op Fuel Good Day is, so I'll have that for next one, what we got for that. So that's an exciting bit that will come to us. There is another casino trip planned for October 27th, and you can contact Michelle at the Hand office at 204-476-2009 if you want to go on that.
Manager of Operations Denise Kay once again largely has his team focused on completing some ongoing projects before freeze-up, including the Park Lake reconstruction. The main portion of dam construction is expected to be completed within the next 2 weeks. And residents are once again reminded to please stay off the site as crews are working 7 days a week at the moment. Other ongoing projects include the new lagoon, reconstruction of Hurl Road, and site cleaning and streetlight installation at the former CN property.
Hey. So we'll start with the big one. Park Lake project is still well underway. I was there for a site meeting this morning. Things are progressing nicely. Looks like the main portion of the dam construction will be completed later this week or early next week. The concrete spillway has its last concrete pour scheduled at this time tentatively for October 31st. It's still on target to see a lake fill up this fall and have a functioning lake in the spring. So it's moving along. There's still quite a bit of work there. We do ask that all residents and visitors stay off the site. It's still a very busy construction site, 7 days a week. Okay, there is no down day for these guys. They work non-stop there. Speaking of that, we really do appreciate all the patience the neighborhood has had, and we ask for their ongoing patience. We have just a little bit further to go, and this project will be completed, and it'll be back to a quiet little corner again. Lagoon project still underway. Latest work we've got on site there is the drilling the water line from the lagoon building up to Whitemud and Adams there. So that work is ongoing. Again, ask residents to be patient with some of the road closures during the construction, just to avoid any accidents and ensure that all our contractors are safe. Contractors, Dig Trail Design, still working on the bike park. They're anticipated to wrap up later this week. Everything there is coming along really nice. I was there for an inspection this morning, as was our consultant. We didn't cross paths unfortunately, but everything is really moving along and taking shape there too. So pretty excited to see that one finished. We had some staff training this morning, and we hosted a hydrant and valve course. We had 8 of our staff participate in that. This was done through the NWA. We were just the host party holding it. We also had an active transportation plan stakeholders meeting last week. That went well. We took some input. Had varying groups from around town come in for that one. So we're nearing the completion, some amendments and some changes yet coming on it, but it's moving along. Council and residents being noted that Hurl Road, west of Highway 5, saw some reconstruction happening, and we're still working on that one, but the main portion of the dig is done. So we just ripped up a portion of the road that was pretty frost bow ridden. So it's seen some severe damage in the spring, and it's been going on for several years. We just finally had the time to get to it now, so we're hoping that site's remedied and back into action by next week. CN site, we're doing some site cleaning there, so we did the portion of Hamilton Street around the museum. We're just removing some of the cut material from there. We're hauling that off site and cleaning it up. Still hoping that Hydro can get on site and finish off the street lights that are waiting for us to get out of the way there. We also did a site visit of the training center this morning. Things are moving along really nice there. We've got first coat of paint on and started to track the ceiling. Flooring is scheduled for next week, so it's really taking shape. A few delays just with some material deliveries, but hopefully they can get past that and stay on target.
CAO Colleen Sinchishin goes into some detail about the quarterly Spruce Plains RCMP report this month. Council receives these reports regularly, and they include items such as crime statistics, new initiatives and crime prevention projects, and specific incident reports.
So I have the quarterly report for July 1st to September 30th, 2023. During that period, 330 charges were issued for the Spruce Plains area and 2 physical check stops set up. Of those charges, 61 were specific to Neepawa traffic tickets. More than 100 roadside breath samples were taken at those various check stops that I spoke about for alcohol impairment, and 2 drivers were charged with impaired driving under the criminal code. 4 drivers then received immediate roadside prohibitions as a result of readings over the legal limit. During this particular quarter, 6 offender management files were opened with 20 curfew checks performed on these subjects. As a result of the checks, 2 subjects were breaching conditions. 1 subject was arrested and held in custody, and the remaining have either been charged or have active arrest warrants issued for their whereabouts, which are currently unknown. Spruce Plains RCMP are setting up several larger-scale crime prevention projects to help address the root causes of crime. In this quarter, they focused on anti-fraud messaging, which continues. Information was put in local papers and during talks focusing on ways to prevent frauds and scams. Information about the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre was put out to keep apprised of new and emerging frauds and scams. And initial work with local gas stations where discussions took place on ways to reduce crime has begun and will continue into the next quarter. Of course, as noted, there was an increase in reported fraud and scam types calls in the area. People are encouraged to look to that Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre online and see what, things evolve as people get smarter and try to keep up to date on what the frauds are. Our Neepawa RCMP also received a call of a youth shooting other youths with a BB gun. The matter was investigated and a search warrant was executed at a residence in Neepawa. During the search, officers found numerous stolen street signs from around the area. 1 youth was charged for various offenses relating to that investigation. Neepawa RCMP also assisted the Niagara Regional Police with a reported abduction. Police located the vehicle and the victim and attempted to conduct a vehicle stop. The vehicle fled from police and a pursuit ensued. The vehicle was disabled by a spike belt and the victim was safely located in Neepawa. The suspect was later arrested and charged and was currently being held at that time at the Brandon Correctional Center. There was also a response to a well-being check on a 78-year-old at a residence in Neepawa. There was no answer when they attended, so the door was breached and the officers found the subject in poor health in need of assistance on the floor. EMS was contacted while the officers rendered aid and the subject was taken to the hospital. They continue with regular visits with the town. They took part in the rolling barrage that was in support of PTSD, and they still are conducting detachment tours, more recently for the day camps. Currently one vacant position in the Spruce Plains area. The corporal position in Minnedosa is currently vacant and an individual has been selected. 2 constables recently transferred out, but then there's 2 experienced constables starting mid-October to backfill, so I'm gonna guess they might be in place by now. And they filled a .6 public servant office position in Minnedosa.
Council makes decisions on dealing with a couple of straightforward but necessary projects. The first is tackling this year's Dutch Elm Disease tree removal list. There are 33 trees being removed this year, which is a little higher than normal, because there are some healthy trees being removed as well to try to halt the root spread of the disease. Council also reviewed tenders alongside the Manitoba Water Services Board for a water main extension across PTH 16. Estimated at over $1 million, this significant project will provide service not just to the new hospital, but to that entire area.
So with our provincial Dutch Elm Disease list provided to us, I did an invitational for some quotations on removal of Dutch elm. Invitation went up to 3 individuals. We received 2 back. I do not remember the numbers, so Colleen will have to repeat those.
Low bid, we're recommending low bid at $9,400 to Devin Jarvis.
Okay, and that's the removal of 33 trees. Is that similar to other years?
Yes, some numbers depends how high. Like, the proximity of each tree, because it's not only by beetle transfer. There's also the disease can be spread by root contact. So in some cases, we've removed some healthy ones to try to mitigate and break the line of that root transfer happening. The disease has a lot of secrets that we're still learning, unfortunately. But yeah, this is maybe 6 to 10 trees higher than I think normal. So
yeah, it's
we'll
unfortunate, but it's what we have to deal with in the province. Okay, so the motion is, be it resolved that we accept the quote of Devin Jarvis in the amount of $9,400 plus GST for the removal of 33 elm trees identified as a part of the Dutch Elm Disease Management Program for 2023. Moved by Councillor Kostenchuk, seconded by Councillor Nadeau. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Colleen, water main extension.
So this is a PTH 16 and technically PTH 5 water main extension. It will go out the direction of the northeast of Neepawa to service the quarter section of the southwest 34, 14, 15. More specifically, the triggering project being the hospital, but these services are main extensions and will be in the ground to service many other things into the future. So phase 1, it was divided up into various phases. We had tenders issued and tenders came in. They were reviewed by Manitoba Water Services Board and Associate Engineering acting on our behalf. We, more Denise than me, spent quite a bit of time reviewing those tenders and taking a good look at what is existing there. And following that review, we're recommending low bid to Swift Underground amount of $1,186,600, or basically $1,186 and change, or 86,000. Did I say that right? You get it right, Brian, I got it wrong.
Okay, any questions, Colleen? Okay, the motion reads, be it resolved that we accept the tender of Swift underground in the amount of $1,186,016.20 to complete phase 1 of the water main extension required to extend the water service to the new regional hospital and premise future development of 341415 list. Moved by Deputy Mayor Parrott, seconded by Councillor Gerard. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Finally, Whitemud Watershed has come to Council requesting a bump to their annual contribution. They have recently been notified about an increase in the provincial funding they are eligible to receive, as there is a program requirement of a percentage of matching funds for the municipality. However, the town of Neepawa has already budgeted for their annual levy to the Whitemud Watershed this year without this increase.
So every year we pay a levy to the Whitemud Watershed. It's usually based on a mill rate of 0.25. They did increase it ever so slightly, mind you, across the base of Neepawa to 0.33 this year. So our levy was $10,115.55. What they gave us though afterwards, what happened was, I guess the province came up with extra money in their budget. And when you get money in your budget from the province, there's a requirement to have it matched by another 20, like to every dollar. If they give you 75, you find 25 cents. So they're looking for the matching portion to that increase they got from the province, which equates to, for Neepawa, $1,036.81. We did not receive this information prior to establishing our budget, so there is no money in the budget to pay this unless you see fit to do so. So we brought it forward for a resolution rather than just make the assumption that you're accepting to pay this.
Okay, any questions?
So this is enabling the watershed to access that grant.
Well, technically, I think they have it already, but they want to make the best value out of their full monies they receive from the province by getting that matching side of it from the
So we're
municipalities.
talking.
They're looking for top up
It's a
of
top-up,
funds.
yeah, it's a top-up.
So it's like, I would equate it to someone coming to us looking for grant dollars after our grant window is closed. After we've already had an increase from 0.25 of a mill rate to 0.33. And then this was a subsequent tack on top of that.
So then my question is, they get the money, they just want to be topped up.
Well, it's part of the requirement within the program. So for every 75 cents the province gives, the municipalities come up with 25. So because they were given an extra 100,000, they want the matching to make their budget increase and do more programming is what they're looking for. But it came after we'd already passed our financial plan.
So is there room in our budget for this? We've already levied our taxes.
I guess you could always find room, but that means because we set our budget, we look a little closer at other lines in our budget that might be over already, or maybe we haven't spent, and then something has to give somewhere. It's too early in the year to tell what would be left. Quite often in a year we do have money that we could probably cover this. I don't know where we're at right at the moment to tell you that, because we got a lot of pretty major projects on the go.
I think then I would not be in favor of this resolution for the fact that if any organization was dire at the end of their year and needed financial aid, we would consider it differently than coming after our budget has been set for programming, basically.
Just speaking to that too, I guess my opinion on that is, we saw the excess need for Watershed, and that was why we went the 0.25 to the 0.33. That was brought to us ahead of budget times. And realistically, there's never been a lot of pushback from Neepawa contributing into the watershed. That being said, the bulk of those watershed dollars are also spent and invested in the areas where our rural partners are. They can still do that if they disperse that funding amongst the other rural partners as well. And I know it's in the scope of you know, we see, you know, $100 and some million hospital being built. We see a $12 million project occurring on the south end of Neepawa. We see I still think it's on us as councillors to, you know, we can't forget to not drop the smaller bills out of our back pocket because they add up as well.
We've had other government agencies asking for funding from another government agency. Everybody planned.
But is this not something that, as you're saying, that we have to come up with the 25%? Is this something that we have to?
Well, the front of the year, they give you, before you set your budget, they tell you what they want from you.
Right.
So they did. They told us they wanted $10,115.55. So that's what we put in our budget. This additional money, and it's unfortunate the province didn't advise them any sooner than they did, because otherwise you would have been asked for $11,152, and we'd have put it in our budget and we'd have been happy with it. The difference is this extra $1,036.81 came after we approved.
Like I said, in my mind, that's the same as equating a group comes and asks us for $1,000 grant outside of our grant window. I mean, and we have worked with things like that in the past, but I mean, like I said, we've got a lot of bills that are facing the town of Neepawa that aren't necessarily even going to be subject to our rural partners, and I think we have to, we just have to toe the line when those opportunities are there.
Or is this something when we get closer to year end, should there be an ability?
Yeah.
I just would need to speak to that now. We got a lot of things on the plate.
Yeah. We just, we did the financial statements already. And when we look at those, you can see that there's more than half of our budget spent with still half a year left. I think it's incumbent on us to not, because that means the $1,000 has got to come from somewhere else that we already budgeted for. We didn't budget for this. And it's an unfortunate reality. It's not that it's not a good cause, or it's just the way that the year ends happen and the budgeting happens, and I'm not in favor of this one off.
Can we table it till next year? January?
Well, they'll be asking you for the full value. It'll just be a new year, because they
Will that
have
be-
to close the books.
Will this be carried over though?
No. Not that I would be able to do it. It was just short than $1,000 in their budget.
It's $1,000 in their budget or 1,000 in ours. I say we protect our people, our budget.
I agree.
I'll move it.
Okay, are we ready to vote? Whereas subsequent to passing of the 2023 financial plan for the town of Neepawa, the province of Manitoba increased their provincial allotment to the Whitemud Watershed Conservation District by $100,000. And whereas the Watershed has requested that the municipal partners within the watershed contribute proportionally to meet the provincial municipal matching requirement of the 75-25. Therefore be it resolved that we approve payment of additional funding to the Whitemud Watershed Conservation District in the amount of $1,036.81. So moved by Deputy Mayor Parrott, seconded by Councillor Gerard. All in favor? Opposed? Carried, that's defeated.
Not carried.
Opposed, defeated.
Also covered were the regular financial reports and an application to the Storefront Improvement Program. You can view end-to-end coverage of Town Council meeting elsewhere in the NECTV schedule, including immediately following this. If you have comments, questions, or topics we might be able to shine some light on for you, please reach out to us. The number is 204-476-2639 or by email at nectvnews@gmail.com. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you next time.